Hello all, it's Toni. Now last week we went to spend some time with our family in California. Before we left, we decided to do a little relaxing and sightseeing in Palm Springs. While there, we thought we'd check out the art district, and that's when I stumbled upon Tom Ross Gallery. Looking through the window, I was mesmerized by these intricate, abstract paintings that looked like they were on glass. I met the artist Tom Rosenberg, who was nice enough to give us a very interesting and in-depth tour of his work. After being a successful children's book author for over 25 years, Rosenberg started to explore the world of abstract painting. His gallery features intricate, colorful, layered reverse paintings on large pieces of clear acrylic. Rosenberg talks about the inspiration behind this large, colorful piece made up of panels that each flow into the next design.
Jellyfish had washed onto the beach, and their colors were just beautiful. They're transparent, and so that palette kind of started the piece, but it also sort of took me to think of the bottom of the ocean and the sort of life that lives there, but more on a psychological, spiritual level. It brought me to that part that's deep within ourselves and centered. And what I did then is one piece then inspires the next, and I have no idea where the piece is going, and that's why it's called Unforeseen.
Even though his images are abstract, they contain lots of colors and layers with very intricate details that shows lots of time and attention.
It takes a long time, and I purposely try not to keep track of it or I'd get discouraged, and I would start thinking of it as work. So to me it's kind of like, well, how many hours do you meditate? I don't know. These I call my marble series. And the inspiration of this was, go to my childhood, and that thought of when you looked into a marble, you could imagine a whole universe. This, I started, and I knew I didn't want to be quite as much object-oriented in it, kind of have a simpler composition. So I started in this middle area, and the idea of, kind of a light source there. And it definitely brought me back to a near-death experience I had when I was 22, and it hemorrhaged on the operating table and had lost all my blood and came close to not coming back. But anyway, it was basically that feeling of entering this just pure source of love has stayed with me throughout my whole life, and this kind of brings that back to me. This is new for me. I started doing these where there are these 3 panel pieces, and so by layering each layer on a separate piece of acrylic as opposed to painting them all in one, it adds a sense of three-dimensionality. This color palette that are called jewel tones, and my mother was a big inspiration for me becoming an artist, and she died about 15 years ago, but she loved color. These were her favorite, color palette. So, and it reminded me this piece of her and the gratitude I have towards her, so that's why I call it gratitude.
So if you're ever in the Palm Springs area, you had to go by and check out Tom Ross Gallery. It's a must-see. I will leave a link and contact information where you can find his gallery in the description box below. You can also talk to Tom about doing custom pieces for your home. Well, seeing Tom's work and hearing him talk about his family and his mother really inspired me to do some painting of my own. So I want to show you how I created a Mother's Day gift for my own mother, inspired by Rosenberg's work. To make this gift, I'm using a textured glass plate that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm also using my Your House at Home metallic multi-surface acrylic paint and a couple of brushes. Rosenberg used really detailed design for his images, But to make things simple for myself, I'm going to use this plate that already has a design on it. If you want to use a flat plate, you can create your own design or use a stencil. Dollar Tree had this stained glass book with different patterns that you could use to trace a design onto your plate. But having the design already on a plate will make things much easier. Plus it has a relief design which will give it dimension. I'm going to start by using the metallic silver, and I am going to paint inside the veins of the leaves and around all the shapes so that I'll have a silver outline around the design. And I'm using a really small brush for this. Since the silver is very light, I'm going to put this on a black background so I can see what I'm doing. And when you paint it on glass, glass is a shiny, smooth surface, so the paint doesn't have much to grip to, so it's going to be really transparent and it's going to glide across the glass. But you want to cover the area just once in even strokes. If you paint over it again, it's going to pick up the paint. So if you want to make the paint more opaque, you're going to have to wait till it dries and then cover it again. But I'm just doing some nice brush strokes in the cracks and around the shapes of the design. And when it dries, you'll see the top layer on the other side will be a nice metallic outline. Next, I'm going to use a metallic gold, and I'm going to paint gold in the shapes around the edges. And I'm going to use the gold to paint some little designs, dots, and squiggly lines inside some of the pieces. I'm going to do the same with the silver paint some dots and some squiggly lines, because I'm going to be painting layers of colors, and I want the gold and the silver to be my first layer that shows up on top of all the other layers. Now let's add some color. I want to use my mother's favorite colors. She likes blues, greens, and violets. With my Your House at Home paint set, I included blue, yellow, and red. These are primary colors, and with those colors you can mix any colors you like. The set also has black and white, so you can create any shade of those colors. I'm going to start by creating a green. Blue mixed with yellow makes green, and I'm also going to mix a light green by adding a little white and dark green by adding a little black. So I'm going to brush some even strokes in one direction of the light green first, and I'm going to spread the different shades of green evenly out, either on a half a leaf or a whole leaf. And like I said, on glass, since this is a real shiny, slippery surface, it's going to be very transparent, and it's going to glide over the piece rather than gripping and landing a good coat on it. So if you want, you can go back after you finish painting all the greens and paint another layer to make it more opaque. But since I'm doing layers of colors, I like the transparency of the way the paint goes down. But make sure you paint your strokes in one direction. It'll make the streaks look more deliberate. I'm going to start adding more blues now. And I'm painting right on top of the gold and silver designs I did to give it a layered look, so that when you turn it over and see it on the displayed side, you will see those levels of color. Okay, so now I'm going to mix a purple color that my mother loves by adding red to the blue. Let's put a little white in it to make it a light purple. Okay, so I think I'm done. Also added a little yellow and orange and mixed and painted all the colors that I wanted in this piece. You can't see it very well now because this plate is sitting on a black background, but the colors are still very transparent. So in between all the strokes, I want to have a silver metallic color shining through. So I'm going to paint the entire plate with a silver metallic color. Then I'm going to let that dry and paint another coat of the silver. This will fill in the streaky strokes with silver when I turn it over, and it'll give the back side a nice silver finish. So after it dries, you have a nice silver finish on the outside, and when you turn it over on the display side, you get a beautiful, colorful, metallic foil look with layers of colors and streaks of silver in between your colors. And the textured relief glass helps give it a nice, interesting, dimensional look. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is to make this paint more permanent on the glass by curing it in the oven. With my multi-surface paint, you can cure it by letting the piece dry completely for an hour, then placing it in a cool oven and turning the oven on to 350 degrees. And you're going to let that bake for 30 minutes. Curing it will make it more scratch resistant, and it'll make it dishwasher safe. So after 30 minutes in the oven, you want to let the oven cool completely before you take the dish out. And I am going to wrap this up for my mama for Mother's Day. I think it'll make a beautiful gift. She can serve some delicious treats on it, or she can display it as a beautiful little art piece from me. So thank you, Tom, for inspiring this beautiful Mother's Day gift. Be sure and click on the link in the information box below so you can learn more about Tom Ross Gallery and view the beautiful art of Tom Rosenberg. Now you can get our metallic acrylic craft paint in 8 shimmering colors, available now at Amazon.com. Add me on Snapchat at Your House of Home and Instagram at Your House of Home TV for daily home, food, and gardening tips.